Hello, and how are you? Welcome to Teaching Tuesdays. I am Angela by Angela Realty Company. And today is Teaching Tuesdays. Today, we have a lot to cover in a very short period of time. So let's get to it. I want to let you know Homes by Angela Realty Company is a full service real estate firm. We have absolutely fantastic agents that we'll put up on the screen before we leave that are able to help you. Visit our website at homesbyangelarealty.com. So now let's get to it. If you're looking to buy a home, we're back with buyers today. And if you're looking to buy a home, there are some things that you should not do. They are called the 10 Commandments of buying a home. And here we go. Let's go. There we are. All right. So the 10 Commandments of buying a home. First of all, wait a minute. We're already on 6. We need to be on 1. All right. Here we are. Thou shalt not change your job or become self-employed or quit your job. Your lender is going to ask you for at least a 2-year job history. And if there are any gaps in your employment, you're going to have to explain those. For example, if you were sick, if you were laid off, if you were deployed and, like maybe with the National Guard or something, and you had to do your 2 weeks on or whatever, you're going to have to show at least 2 years of continuous employment in the same line of work. And if you quit your job, or if you quit your job, you don't have a way to pay the mortgage. If you become self-employed, you're going to need at least 2 years of self-employment tax returns to show your true income when you are looking to buy a home. So even if you hate your job, even if you're looking at, other job options, you want to make sure that you don't quit your job or change jobs without talking to your lender. So I want to make sure that I'm very clear that anything that you do that is job related, you want to speak with your lender first, because your lender's goal is to make sure that you look good on paper for underwriting, and they know the guidelines of the loan that you're applying for, and they also know what underwriting will and will not accept in the form of a job change. Now, if you're looking to get a promotion, if you're going to a different division within your company and you're going to be making more money, all of that is acceptable. You just want to make sure that you are in communication with your lender as if they are your new BFF until you get to the closing table. Second thing, thou shalt not buy a car, truck, or van, or you may be living in it. Cars kill houses. It's really just that simple. And you may say, well, Angela, my car died and, it'll cost me more money to fix it than it's worth. What do? You call your lender. That's what you do. If you are under contract and you are in the process of buying your home and getting approved for your mortgage loan, you want to make sure that you call your lender. And let me explain something to you. A pre-approval for your home loan and final approval from underwriting to close are two different things. And until you get that final approval to close, which usually comes about 2 or 3 days before closing, you don't want to do anything. And even after you get that final approval and that clear to close, you still want to, if you've got to do something financial, you want to make sure that the first call is to your loan officer. Don't listen to the salesperson in the store. Don't listen to the salesperson in the car lot. None of those people are able to help you buy your home. They have a goal, and that's to sell stuff. Just don't do it. All right. Call your lender or call your realtor. Your realtor's going to get your lender on the phone and be like, hey, this is the situation. This is what we got to do. Third thing, thou shalt not use charge cards excessively or let your account balances fall behind. You cannot have any delinquencies in this process when you are looking to purchase a home. If you've gotten pre-approved and you haven't found a home yet, or if you're under contract, you want to make sure that you are not excessively charging things and running up your balances. A good rule of thumb to keep your credit card balances in good condition and keep your credit scores where they are, or to improve them, is that you only charge 30% of your balance of your available credit on your card. So let's say you have a $900 limit and you have $300 charged on that card. You should not be using that card anymore. You should not be using that. Ideally, you want to be at 30% of your available balance of your credit limit, rather, when you're looking at charging things on your credit cards. And that's a good rule of thumb all the way around to keep your credit good and to keep your scores high. You also want to make sure, number 4, thou shalt not spend money you have set aside for closing. If you have, which you will have to do, submit to your loan officer or underwriting your bank statements, usually 2 months or 3 months of bank statements for all of your accounts, your savings account, your money market account, your checking account, your secondary savings account, your secondary checking account, your secondary money market account. All of those accounts you will have to submit to the loan officer in order for your loan to process through. Don't spend, if you need 35 or if you need $5,000 for closing, all right, that is your estimated cash to close. You can't spend that money and say, oh, I'll spend it and I'll put it back. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have to continue throughout the loan process to provide bank statements and paycheck stubs to your lender in order to get your loan approved. And the lender does not, and underwriting rather, does not want to see that you took money out and then you put money back unless there is a good reason for it. And here's the thing. Everyone should have an emergency fund that will not interfere with you buying your home. If your emergency fund is your savings account and you got all your money in your checking account, that's one thing. If it's the other way around, that's fine. But you want to make sure that you are not spending money that has been set aside and approved as money for down payment and or closing cost assistance, because nowadays sellers are about 50-50 on whether or not they're paying closing costs. So you want to make sure that you are not spending that money, because if you put it back, you're going to have a whole nother you're opening up a whole nother can of worms as to where those funds came from. And then 10 commandments. Commandment number 5, thou shalt not omit debt or liability from your loan application. Let me tell you, the underwriting process is like peeling an onion. It's got layers. It's layers and layers and layers. And the loan officer, the processor, and the underwriter, they are going to be all in your business. Okay. It's no getting around it. There's no getting around that. They're going to be all in your business. And as the old folks would say, what doesn't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse. And that's usually what happens. Somebody will leave something off because they think it's not important, or they'll leave something out because or a child support maybe that they're not, it maybe it's coming out of your check or whatever, and you just kind of, oh well, but it's not oh well to underwriting. Every debt, every credit liability that you have, that monthly payment goes against your debt to income ratio. And those numbers are very important. Remember when I said cars kill houses? The reason being is because a car payment is usually a large payment. Car payments nowadays are running $600, $700, $800. All right. And so you've got to make sure that you don't go incur this debt that is going to throw off your debt to income ratio and disqualify you from buying a house. That's why the note is in here. You might be living in it. But the same thing the same thing happens with any debt. Anything that you have that had a 3-month deferred payment or a 6-month deferred payment, and you figure in your mind, oh, well, I'll be closed by the time the first payment hits. Don't do that. Make sure that you disclose all of that information to your loan officer so that they can properly calculate how much you have to spend as far as buying power is concerned and what your debt to income ratio will actually look like in reality. Commandment number 6, thou shalt not buy furniture or appliances before you close. I know you're all excited, and I know you've looked at the house 5 or 6 times, and I know you did, you took measurements while you were doing your home inspection and all of those things, and the one-day sale at Haynes that is always every day. Don't do it. Okay, do not do it. I had a client, I was the listing agent on the property, and the buyers went and bought a washing machine and dryer. And while we were able to still make the loan happen, it delayed their closing by about 3 weeks because what they had to do was return that washing machine and dryer. They had to request an update for the credit report. I mean, it was just a mess. Okay. It was just a mess. And so their thought was, well, they said it was no payments till not for 90 days. And for some people that works because they may not be at the top end of their debt to income ratio. But for some folks, it doesn't work. And if you are maxing out your buying power and you are in a tight price point, do nothing. I don't care what the salesperson says. I don't care what anybody says. Do nothing. If your lender did not give you permission to do it, don't do it, and make sure you call your lender. Commandment number 7, thou shalt not originate any kind of inquiries into your debt. This goes back to those 90 days, same as cash, no payments for 90 days or whatever. They've got to run your credit. And normally what happens is 24 to 48 hours before you close, underwriting runs your credit. And then they see all these different inquiries. You've been to Lowe's and you've been to Haynes and you've been to Grand and you've been to Home Depot and you've been all these places inquiring about credit. And what they're going to come back and ask you is, did you buy anything that you are going to have payments for later on? They're also, because you would have given them a authorization to be able to talk to people on your behalf, and those people can give underwriting information. They're going to reach out to them as well, and they're going to say, hey, did you all extend credit to X, Y, and Z? To this person. And so you don't want to do that. You don't want to get in a position where you have now bought things and those payments are going to come due even after you close, but you bought them before you close. So underwriting will take those payments into consideration. And those things may very well be the things that keep you from buying a home. Commandment number 8, thou shalt not make any large deposits without first checking with your lender. I don't know if you picked it up or not, but checking with your lender is the going theme here. Check with your lender. Whatever it is that you want to do, check with your lender. Large deposits are a red flag and they require documentation. And so you want to check with your lender. I am not saying to you that you can't do it, but what I am saying is that there is a way to do everything in this process. And so you have to check with your lender when you have large deposits that you have to make. We have to do what's called sourcing them. And you're going to have to provide the source of the documentation. And that can get a little hinky depending on how you got the money. All right. Let's see. Commandment number 6, thou shalt not change bank accounts or overdraw your bank account. All right. You can't just close one account and start another one. You're going to have at least a 2 or 3 month banking history with that account. If there's a reason for it, if there was some kind of fraud committed on your account, if there was some kind of identity theft committed on your account, and you've got all that documentation, talk to your lender about it first. Please, please, please. This is not, and I don't mean this insultingly, but this is not the time for you to think This is not the time for you to say, well, it just made perfectly good sense to me. What may make perfectly good sense to you as a consumer does not make perfectly good sense to underwriting. And your loan officer is the person who is directly connected with underwriting in order to help you get the loan for the home that you want. And then the last thing, this is a huge one. Commandment number 10, thou shalt not co-sign a loan for anyone, anyone, anybody. Okay. Don't co-sign for anybody. All right. You want to make sure that you are keeping your credit pristine. You are not co-signing for anyone. Here's the deal. If people really, if the person you were co-signing for valued their credit and paid their bills on time, they wouldn't need you to co-sign for them, because their signature would be sufficient for whatever debt it is that they are trying to take on. And understand this, co-signatures make your debt joint. All right. So that's a whole thing. You want to make sure that you are not co-signing for anyone. So I just want to, the theme of this is anything financial that you do, you want to make sure that you are checking with your lender before you do it. Before you make the decision, before you sign on the dotted line, there is nothing that you have to buy today that will evaporate before you have to have the opportunity to check with your lender because you're buying a house. All right. The salespeople have one interest, and that's selling something, and you have another, and that's buying your home and securing your financial future for your family. And so I want to make sure that you are doing the things that you need to do in order to get to the closing table. After you close and that loan is recorded, you can buy anything you want, technically, but you shouldn't. What you really should do is wait and see how things go, move into your new home, determine what you actually need as opposed to what you want, and then make the purchases, and make those purchases with a sense of confidence, and make those purchases from a knowledgeable standpoint, not from I'm being pressured by the salesperson to do this with the one-day sale that goes away tomorrow. All right. Because if it was a one-day sale today, it'll be another one-day sale next week. It's really okay. I will tell y'all, the first house that I bought, the stove only had one working burner. I think it might have had two working burners, and the oven worked. And so I lived for a year off of a stove with two working burners and an oven, because I had to buy a refrigerator when I moved in. So I had to buy a refrigerator. I knew the stove only had two working burners, and I had to make that sacrifice for the first year that I was a homeowner, because there were other things that I had to do. And so you just want to make your decisions from a place of information and a place of confidence when you're doing it, and not because you are pressured. So I'm Angela Williams Graves, the broker owner of Homes by Angela Realty Company. Visit us at homesbyangelarealty.com, homesbyangelarealty.com, and click on, I'm going to show you, wait a minute, hold on, I got to put them up, our wonderful Homes by Angela realtors that all right, so I got to add myself back so y'all can hear me. All right, those are our wonderful realtors that are able to help you in the home buying process. Any of those ladies are able to help you if you're looking to buy a home, if you're looking to sell a home, but make sure that you follow the 10 commandments. I'm going to expound a little bit more on a couple of them later on, but make sure that you are following the 10 commandments, because our goal is to help you achieve your goal, and that is to become a homeowner. So until next time, this is Angela Williams Graves with Homes by Angela Realty Company, and I hope you have enjoyed our Teaching Tuesdays. If you have questions, feel free to give us a call, 757 524-4941, 757-524-4941. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.